I thought that we could do a little bit of a reintroduction, or maybe just like an introduction at all. I don't think I've ever done anything like this. Posting as consistently as I possibly can here, and thought it was time that I actually sat down and told you a little bit about myself. I don't know how much I will say. I have nothing prepared, guys. This is all off the top of my head. So, hello, I'm Angie. Thank you for being here. I'm 30 years old. I live in Chicago. Recently I moved to Chicago. I used to live in Houston my whole entire life, and I moved to Chicago a few months ago. If anyone in the area wants to be friends, I would love to be friends. We could start a book club, we could do buddy reads, we could do whatever. I'd love that. I went to school for art history. I don't do anything with it, but I love to say that I have a degree in art history because I truly really like studying it, and I like to think I was pretty good at it too. I used to read like a decent amount as a kid. I was like obsessed with like A Series of Unfortunate Events. I remember several times like staying in during recess to read, or like, you know, staying up really late reading books. I was also really into Twilight in middle school. Twilight came out at the perfect time for me. I still have my first editions from when I was like 12 years old. The tears that those books have seen. I will never read Twilight again though, because I need to preserve that memory for my 12-year-old self. But I got back into reading in 2020, or maybe like late 2019, and then like with the pandemic and everything, I discovered BookTube specifically, and it took off from there a little bit. It took off a little bit from there, and then in 2022 I really fell headfirst into the romance genre. I think before I was reading a little bit more widely, but in 2022 I was like obsessed with romance books. Like, it was all I was doing. I read over 200 books that year, and even though I'm not reading nearly as much now, I have never looked back. Like, ever since then, reading has been my number one hobby, kind of one of my biggest priorities. The past year or two, I've been in a pretty big reading slump, I would say. I think I overdid it on the romance a little bit, so then romance wasn't really doing it for me, and now I do feel like I'm getting to a place where I have a more healthy relationship with reading. I read a little bit differently now than I did when I was so deep into romance. Romance is still very special to me. Very special to me. I love the romance genre. I love the community around it, and I love what it stands for. But yeah, that is basically my relationship to reading and romance, and what I'm planning on talking about here. Some other things that I like, because I'm not just someone that reads, definitely not. A few years ago maybe, but now I do try to do other things. I've been taking sewing classes for a good portion of this year, which has been a lot of fun. I had never sewed on a sewing machine before, and really liking it. Picked up crochet, very new, very novice at it. I like horror movies and movies in general, but like I would say I specifically really like horror movies. I think horror as a genre is very fun and very interesting. And then I don't know, I guess I like to hang out, you know, just like everyone else. I watch shows, I consume media. I live my life. Hope you guys had fun listening to me yap. I hope that this made any sense. Like I said, this was all top of my head, but I hope you got to know me a little bit more. Yeah, okay, well, I'll see you around.